My name is Amit. This is the fifth lecture of auditing, and now we are going to look at the advantages of auditing. The owners of the business organizations are no doubt benefited by the audited financial information, but the users of financial information, such as investors, tax authorities, suppliers, management, etc., they also gain some profit from this. The advantages that accrue to the various parties connected to the business organization can be grouped in different types. It could be either the owners or the management or other than owners and management. In case of owners, it could be the present owners, that is the current stakeholders, that is the current shareholders. And in case of prospective owners, it could be let's say in future, by looking at the financial information, if some other people are going to buy shares of the company, then those are the prospective owners. Then the management of the organization that has audited their books. And in case of others, it would be monitoring agencies like CBIL and all, then employees, bankers, creditors, or customers. So what happens is the benefits are like, as I had mentioned earlier, that audited financial statements, the auditors have to file the report of audit to the register of companies, and the report should be available to everyone by paying a minimal charges. Anyone can get those reports from the register of companies. So by looking at the audited financial statements, an investor, that is a prospective owner of the company, they get to know that they get to know the financial situation of the organization. If any qualifications are made by the auditors, they get to know what are the issues. By looking at the notes to accounts, they understand what are the issues that are going on in the organization, what are the legal liabilities the company is having. So and what are the assets, liabilities, what is the income of the company, what is the turnover of the company, all that information can be seen from the audited financial statements. So that way it is helping the other stakeholders also. For managers, for management, it gives them the correct information to take some decisions about the growth of the business, about the uh, changes that they need to make in the business. And that way it helps to the management. Now let's go to one by one, go to these points one by one. First we will look at the advantages to the owners. First is errors and frauds are located and prevented. The owners are assured that accounts are properly maintained and frauds are not committed by their employees. So we have already seen about the errors and frauds in earlier lectures. So when the auditors do the auditing, they come to know about the errors, frauds that are there in this organization. Those are located very well, and there is some internal control system set up by the company which prevents the errors and frauds. So whenever they see the audited financial statements, they know for sure that in this financial statement, the audited one, there are no frauds, no errors as such, and it is showing the true and fair view of the financial position of the organization. Then second is the tax authority generally accept the audited accounts for determination of income tax, sales tax, and wealth tax, etc. So whenever the company files a return, they submit the audited financial statements to the tax authorities. On that basis, because they do accept only audited financial statements, and that's the reason why, and just because of that, they understand the true and fair view of the financial situation of the organization, and accordingly the tax liability gets calculated and paid. Then the third point is bank and financial institutions use the audited financial information to decide the credit worthiness of the organization before advancing loans. Hence, owners can easily borrow money on the basis of audited accounts. So, let's say for you as an individual, if you want to buy some loan, the first thing that bank checks is the CIBIL rating. If your CIBIL rating is above some points, then only you do have a credit worthiness to get the loan to borrow money from the bank. Sorry. Now, the same way, now how do the CIBIL rating gets calculated? It is calculated on the basis of whether you have any due amounts, and if you have not paid, your credit worthiness goes down. If you have any credit cards, if you have not made any timely payments to for the credit cards, your CIBIL rating goes down. That way, the banks understand our personal credit worthiness, the capacity of us to borrow money from the banks. In that manner, if the company applies for a loan to the bank, these are the audited financial statements serve the uh, serve the purpose of the banks. They understand the correctness of the financial statements. They understand how much cash is available, what is the working capital available in the company. So on the basis of such information, banks give loan to the companies. Fourth is audit increases the reliability of books of accounts and hence can be conventionally used in the following situation. Insurance company. So when, let's say, insurance companies now, we as a student, you as of now you understand the insurance is either your car insurance, two-wheeler insurance, or your life insurance. But that's not the only case. In case of companies, if let's say company is having some inventory, so stock is somewhere in the ocean, it's coming from some country to India. Now, if let us say the ship sinks, then there is a possibility that they will lose the entire stock. So they do take insurance of that stock, so that in case of emergencies, the insurance can be claimed and the losses can be minimized. So such insurance companies do use the the audited financial statements to arrive at the premium we need to pay. Then, if business has to be sold as a going concern, the purchase consideration can be determined on the basis of audited accounts. Now, when we are trying to sell the business to some customers, in that case, to arrive at the net worth of the organization, to arrive at the purchase consideration which needs to be paid when we sell to some prospective owner, in such cases, the audited financial statements serve purpose. The accounts of partnership firms can be settled without any dispute on admission, retirement, or death of a partner. Besides, disputes can also be settled with the help of audited accounts. So, uh, if you look at all the problems so far you have seen for the partnership firms, you would see that the problem states that the audited financial statements of dash 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 partnership firm shows balance sheet as on this day as below. So the word audited financial statements means that the auditors have audited the financial statements and they have given their observations about the financial statements, and now the figures are correct to the best of auditors' knowledge, and now you can arrive at some conclusion about the benefits or the benefits to be given to all the partners, or the money that needs to be taken from them or recovered from them. Then the fifth advantage to the owner is auditing can help the owners in deciding about the efficiency and honesty of the employees, and accordingly can assist in taking right decisions concerning the dishonest and inefficient employees. So it's obvious that if any employee is dishonest, if that employee has committed a fraud, then the company should remove that employee from the organization, should kick that person off, then file a suit against that person if the fraud is of magnitude of that magnitude, and recover the money from them. So such type of decisions can also be taken on the basis of the audited financial statements or the audit report given by the auditors. Now we will look at the advantages the auditing is having to the management. In case of a joint stock company and certain other organizations, the day-to-day management of the business is handed over to the professional managers. Auditing extends the following advantages to the management. Managers take a large number of decisions and use the accounting information or reports prepared out of the financial accounting data. The effectiveness of the decisions depend on the accuracy of the information obtained by them. Audited accounts are more reliable. So if I say these are the accounts that I have prepared just now, and if I show you some audited accounts, you would definitely go by the audited accounts, because the accounting is done by one team or one person, and the auditing is done by a third party firm which is not an employee of the organization. So they have looked into your accounts from a different angle as a stranger. So they have seen all the loopholes that are there in your company accounts. They have fixed those. They have arrived at a conclusion that there are some frauds or some errors in the statements. They have corrected it, and then they have given it to you, your management, the stakeholders, shareholders, etc. So it's obvious that the managers are going to take the decisions on the basis of whatever they have seen in the audited financial statements. Then second point is the management can get technical advice on the internal control system, internal check system, safeguarding of assets, etc. So when auditors come to a conclusion that there are some frauds or errors in the financial statements, what they do is they give some suggestions to the organization about having some internal check system implemented, then strengthening the internal control system, then implementing some compliance in the processes, so that whatever frauds have happened or whatever errors have happened could easily be removed from the system or can be corrected. Then third point is audited financial statements are used by the management in settling disputes with workers. It's obvious that if certain claim is to be paid to the worker, then the calculation of that has to be seen whether it is correct or wrong. Then let's say for workman compensation, we need to give to the workers who are let's say have lost their hand, or let's say they are paralyzed, or whatever has happened when they were working on the machine. So for such things the company creates some liability, they create some funds. So and those funds are audited by the auditors. So if at the time of resolving such type of disputes with the workers, management can easily tell the workers that, see, these are the audited financial statements. So it's not that we have calculated, it is checked by the auditors, they have agreed to it, and this is the final amount that can be paid. So such audited financial statements helps a lot in resolving the disputes related to workers or employees. Then the fourth point is audited statements are essential to fulfill certain legal obligations. For example, for listing company share in the stock exchanges, for raising capital from the primary market, etc. So let's say a company wants to raise some capital from the market. We have already understood what is the authorized capital, what is the paid up capital, what is unpaid capital and all. So a company can increase its capital up to the limit that is set for the authorized capital. Now let's say the company's authorized capital is 5 crore rupees, and so far they have raised the capital to 3 crore rupees. Now they want to have another 2 crore rupee capital raised from the market. So how are they going to do? No one is going to believe that yes, they can have the 2 crore rupees raised from the market. They can do it by looking at, or the organizations can understand, or the other agencies can understand about it only by looking at the audited financial statements. So that way it helps the management. Now its owners and managements do have some or other benefits from the audited financial statements. Now let's look at the statements, the benefits that the others can have from it. Monitoring agencies like SEBI, that is Securities Exchange Board of India, etc., can use audited financial information to monitor the capital market related activities of the company. So the way I said about the authorized capital, paid up capital, unpaid capital and all, SEBI can keep these things monitored on the basis of the audited financial statements. Employees of the organization and trade unions can use the audited financial information to negotiate hike in wages or can demand bonus. So let's say if the company says that, see, we have not gained any profits in this financial year end, because of that we are not going to give any bonus to you, or we won't be able to give increment in your salaries. So the trade unions or the lawyer of the employees can come up and say that, see, look at your audited financial statements, it shows this much of profit and you are supposed to give this much of bonus to the employees. You have already committed that if we receive this much of profit, we will be able to pay the bonus or incentives. So that way it helps the employees. Bankers can assess the financial position and operating results of the company and decide about the amount of overdraft facility to be allowed to the company, and if loan is applied, for the amount to be sanctioned. So whenever you apply for a bank loan as an individual, the banks ask you for the income tax return to understand what is your income. They do not go for the other documents. They will ask for the income tax return. They will ask for the bank statement where your salary gets credited. They will ask for any other loans that you are already paying and all. That way, banks ask the company to provide the financial statements for last 3 years or 5 years to understand the credit worthiness of the organization. How many loans are already there, how many loans have not been paid for more than 6 months, for more than 1 year. So they look at the current liabilities and non-current liabilities of the organization, and then they come to a conclusion that yes, the company has the credit worthiness of borrowing X amount, and they sanction that much of amount to the company as overdraft facility. Then fourth and the last benefit to others is suppliers of raw materials can analyze the payment cycle, the operating cycle of the company, and can decide about the terms of credit. Now let's say if if a supplier is giving material to the company and the company says that, okay, for against this material I need a credit period of 30 days. So whatever material you will provide today, I will be making payment after 30 days. Whether that company is capable of paying after 30 days or not, that can be assessed by the supplier on the basis of the audited financial statements. So what they do is, you must have seen the ratio analysis. So net profit ratio, gross profit ratio is there, then suppliers ratio is there, customers credit period ratio is there. So they do calculate such type of ratios, and sometimes in big organizations, the organizations themselves calculate these ratios and they provide it in the audited report. So it helps the suppliers to understand whether the company will be able to pay them in the stipulated period of 30 days or not. Now we will look at the limitations of auditing. It is not possible to examine each and every transaction of a business organization because there are millions of transactions. An auditor uses test checks and conducts detailed examination of selected books and transactions. It is hence possible that misstatement exists in the financial statements even after the books have been audited. Thus, auditing does not make the financial information free from errors and frauds, although it minimizes the same. It's obvious. As I have been mentioning right from the first lecture, that because of the volume of transactions that are there in the system, it is very difficult for the auditors to do the auditing 100%. So they cannot check each and every transaction. Because of that, they do the sample checking. So, but nowadays what has happened is there are a lot of softwares. If you put the number of transactions in that software, if you put the turnover of the company, if you put the number of days for which you are going to audit the books. Then the software itself calculates the samples. So it calculates the number of transactions they need to check. So and it's random. Sometimes and there are some softwares wherein, let's say for a sales ledger, if you put that entire sales ledger in the software, it itself picks some samples on a random basis and provides a report to the auditor that these are the samples you need to check. Now auditors will have to check all those samples. There are multiple criteria set up in that software to come to that sample output of the samples. So now what I can say is, and it's most of the times gives very accurate results. It most of the times gives the true picture to the auditors about the financial statement. So the errors and frauds and everything, it gets minimized. So how does this sampling takes place is, let's say now for advertising expenses, if during the entire period, if let's say to a vendor for advertising, the company is paying 5 lakh rupees in each month, and in just 1 month they pay 50 lakh rupees. That's a that's a transaction which could be possible. It could be possible that the transaction have not taken place, or there could be some issue with the booking of the entries in the system. So the software itself understands that during this entire period, if for that vendor we are paying 5 lakh rupees, how come we are paying 50 lakh rupees in 1 month? Now they pick that sample for checking, and there the auditors find some issue. The evidence obtained by an auditor may not be conclusive. So let's say for some provision calculation. For provision calculation, if the auditors do some checking, they will ask for the evidence for posting that entry. They will look at the calculations done by the client. But whatever calculation they have done, the facts about the figures they have mentioned in that calculation could be missing. They might not check those facts because they do have some time frame during which the audit has to be completed. Because of that, it is mentioned as evidence obtained by an auditor may not be conclusive. An auditor lends his judgment about certain matters in the financial information. For example, amount of bad debt and depreciation provision, valuation of intangible asset, investment, etc. These conclusions are not based on any scientific process. However, what I would say is, let's say for valuation of assets, liabilities, or the valuation of stock, whatever checking is done by the auditors, they do the checking on the basis of the generally accepted accounting policies and the auditing standards. So let's say in the Indian accounting standard, if the valuation of stock has to be done on the reducing balance method basis, or the at the cost plus basis, or assets are to be valued at reducing balance method basis, then they do check whether it is done as per the accounting policies or auditing practices or not. So moreover, it could be like, it's not a limitation of auditing. I would say it is somewhere it is limitation, and it gets recovered in the other part. For certain transactions like purchase and sale of goods, the auditor may rely on the internal control system and internal check system of the organization. If internal control systems are effective, the auditor may not undertake detailed examination. Now, let's say for purchase of goods, what auditor is going to check? When did we actually receive the material? When have you booked the goods received note in the system? Then on the basis of that goods received note, when did you post the invoice of the supplier, and when did you make the payment? So they will ask for transporter's copy of the invoice. They will look at the delivery note date. They will look at they will look at the date when you actually booked the goods receipt note in the system. Then they look at the date on which you have booked the invoice and whether you have paid that invoice to the vendor in as per the credit terms allowed by the vendor. So these are the evidences they will check, and they will understand if there is any flaw in the internal control system of the organization. If they do not see the flaw in, let's say they considered 10 samples for checking, if they see 90% of the samples are correct, then they will say that 90% of entire purchases are correct. So they will have to depend on that. Now we will look at the distinction between auditing and accounting. Meaning and objective of accounting is it's the recording and classifying and summarizing of the business transaction to determine the operating results of the organization for a period and its financial position on a particular date. So accounting is done basically to understand what are the incomes, what are the expenses. We understand the gross profit, net profit from it, and when I look at the balance sheet, we see the situation of the financial position of the organization as on a specific date. Whereas auditing is the detailed examination of the financial information provided by the accounting, so as to enable the auditor to express his opinion, his or their opinion, about the truthfulness and fairness of the financial statements. So auditing is done to check if the accounting is correct or not, whereas accounting is the raw accounting entries of the transactions that have happened during the period. Second point is standardization. There are standard accounting principles that are to be followed with while accounting, like double entry system of bookkeeping, generally accepted accounting policies, etc. So there are some rules set up in the accounting, that the accounting has to be done considering the double entry system of bookkeeping. It has to be done according to generally accepted accounting policies and Indian accounting standards, or IFRS, or Ind AS, what we use now is. Whereas auditing, there is no single method for examining of accounting information. It may differ from organization to organization depending upon the number of transactions, nature of the business, nature of operating cycle, extent of internal control and internal check system, etc. So again, the auditing depends on the samples that are the samples which shows the results of the auditing. If the results are really good, then they depend on the internal control system and they don't check much of the transactions. If the internal control system is weak, they may check the 100% of the transactions. Qualification. An accountant need not necessarily be a chartered accountant. It can be any BCom, MCom, any person who is not having any accounting qualification can become an accountant, whereas an auditor has to be a chartered accountant. That for statutory audit. For internal audit, it may not be a chartered accountant. Nature of work. An accountant prepares the financial statements and an auditor works. Auditor's work adds credibility to it. Then relationship with management and shareholders. An accountant is an employee of the organization, whereas an auditor is appointed by the owners, that is the shareholders, to safeguard their interests. Auditor is not an employee of the organization except the internal auditor. Internal auditor, the companies, big companies, they do have their separate internal audit teams which conduct the internal audit and they give the report to the management, whereas the statutory auditors, they are appointed by the shareholders in the annual general meeting, and the report, audited report, is submitted by the auditors to the shareholders and the registrar of companies. Auditing and investigation. Investigation is a searching inquiry into the profit earning capacity or the financial position of a concern, or to find out the extent of the fraud if there is any suspicion about it, and so on. So for this lecture we are going to end it here, and we will continue with the fifth lecture later. Thank you.